you want to be hot, keep watching. Hey, what's up? It's Emily and welcome back to my channel. If you don't know me, consider me your internet big sister. I post 2 videos a week, one on careers because my full-time job is being a recruiter and I have a careers podcast, and one video designed to help you level up your life, whether it's confidence, friendships, relationships. Consider me your big sis who's been around the block and is here to help you feel pretty good about yourself. That's what we're gonna do. Today we are going to talk about how to be hot, and for the most part, 90% of this has nothing to do with what you look like. I also know I'm a conventionally attractive person. I am like a thin-bodied white woman, so I do recognize that privilege, but I wasn't always existing in a thin body. There were many periods throughout my life where I would have been considered conventionally unattractive. There were also periods I faced of very, very severe and deep-rooted issues with relationships to how I looked with my body, trigger warning for eating disorders. So those were very real things that I worked through from the time I was about 14 and honestly still work through, but have, been in a very successful path of recovery from my early 20s to now. You know those girls in high school who were so popular and all of the guys wanted them, and you looked at them and you were like, oh my God, she is so pretty, she is so cool, like she is that girl. And then you've graduated, you're a little bit older, you check up on them on Instagram and you're like, wait a second, like, were you that pretty? Like everyone was acting as if you were a supermodel or you were the hottest person I've ever seen. And yet these people were hyped up so much in high school, they were almost on a pedestal, like they were the it girls. And so much of that was because of their attitude and their social status and not as much about how they looked. And yes, how they look does play a part into it. They're obviously attractive people, but a big part of the hype around these people is often the aura or the package or the facade that is in front of them. In a nutshell, those hot girls were hot girls partly because they were acting like hot girls. Half of being hot is you thinking that you're hot, and the other half is you acting like you're hot. I literally ask myself, what does a hot person do? A hot/a confident person is not talking down to themselves all of the time. They are not encouraging or indulging in negative self-talk. So in my hotness journey, I officially decided to stop speaking poorly of myself. I was no longer trying on jeans that were a little bit too tight and making it a problem with my body. I made sure I made it a problem with the jeans. When my friends would compliment me, I wasn't saying, oh no, I look like shit today. I would say, thank you so much. Period. That's it. Why am I deflecting a compliment? I also stopped consuming content that made me feel bad about myself. I unfollowed people, especially celebrities, who didn't have the same body as me or who had bodies that made me feel bad about mine. I am a size 4 to a 6. I understand I am still conventionally thin, but I am a curvier build. And back in 2010, I saw girls who looked like me being fat shamed all across magazines. So when I was following these like itty bitty models on Instagram and seeing that every time I opened the app, I just felt like shit about myself, and I kept thinking that that was the standard of beauty that I just couldn't meet. And this whole mindset shift is very much going to be a fake it till you make it situation. You're not authentically going to believe these things. You're not authentically going to just wake up one day and stop speaking poorly about yourself. But if you make it a habit to recognize when you are getting into those nasty mindsets and stop yourself and distract yourself, or if you feel yourself starting to be insecure, put on some music that makes you feel sexy. Like I put on Megan Thee Stallion because that woman loves herself and it makes me love myself. Or I put on Lizzo and it makes me feel confident. Or I'll literally say positive affirmations to myself in the mirror. Something as simple as, girl, I look good today. And I say it till I mean it. And then you start to slowly no longer need those crutches, and it just naturally becomes a part of how you operate. Truthfully, hotness comes from within and it comes from being yourself. Another big thing that I stopped doing was trying to be other people. I wish that I was one of those like meek, quiet, shy, bat your eyelashes girls. I'm not that girl. You are not that girl. Like that was never gonna be me. So I started really leaning into who I was as a person and owning my personality, and that made me feel empowered and sexy. And I noticed that people around me started to feel more like attracted to me, even in a friendship capacity. We're gonna do the work on our mind, but we're also going to do the work on our body. And I'm not talking plastic surgery, but Dr. Miami, if you're watching this, call me girl. Humans communicate in a few ways, obviously one of which is with our words, and one of the other largest ways is with our body language. And fun fact, over 70% of messages we receive do not come from the words that someone is telling us. It comes from the body language they have along with it. For example, if I told you that I was having a really good day, but this was my body language, I don't think you'd believe that I'm having a good day. And if I told you I was really, really confident and just like felt really good about myself. You probably wouldn't believe me. So half of this being hot or being confident vibe is carrying yourself in a way that reflects that. It's literally like that guy, Kevin. Oh my God, I don't even want to talk about him because he's fully in a scandal right now, but we'll spend 2 seconds on it. You know that guy Kevin on TikTok, the guy who's doing like the female gaze challenge, you know, where he's like, if I was your girlfriend, you know what I'm talking about? Now he's apparently like a total creep, whatever. But a lot of girls were obsessed with this guy who isn't conventionally attractive per, you know, today's beauty standards. But because of how he carried himself, the girls were like, oh, wait, what? Like, why am I kind of into this guy? Basically, what I'm saying is there's no way someone else is going to think you're attractive if you don't think you're attractive. Like, it really is as simple as that. So before I started authentically feeling these things, I would mentally tell myself what I was going to do with my body to exude this level of confidence. And I would get dressed and do my makeup in ways that felt good to me, and I ignored beauty trends. Low-rise jeans were never going to make me feel sexy or good based on my body type and how I felt good. So I didn't focus on trends. I focused on what felt right for me. And I made a conscious effort to do a couple of things with my body. If you want to be hot or be perceived as hot or desirable when you walk into a room, number one, be nice. There is nothing more attractive than someone who is authentically well, I just spat. There is nothing more attractive than someone who's authentically kind. And I know a lot of the like mean, aloof girls can sometimes get a lot of attention, and that's awesome and that's great, but I'm a firm believer in being a good person gets you a lot further. But the next is your body language. You need to stand tall. And these are all based on studies. Like, I'm not making these things up, but when you stand tall and have a strong posture with your shoulders down and relaxed, you come across as more confident and thereby more sexy. Making eye contact shows that you're not scared of a goddamn thing. That's also kind of sexy. Smiling when you communicate, it's one of those like nice, warm feelings that naturally can make people more attracted to you. Do you see a trend here? Basically, to be perceived as hot or sexy, you need to be perceived as confident. What I literally need you to do is what I do. I walk into every room telling myself that I'm that bitch. I walk into that room telling myself that I am undeniably hot, and I'm not comparing myself to other people. I'm not saying, oh, I'm not the prettiest girl here. Oh, I'm the prettiest girl here. No, because real confidence comes from yourself, and being hot comes from yourself. So I walk into every room, every party, whatever it is, and I tell myself, I am so attractive. I have a magnetic personality. I have a beautiful smile. I have a great way of making people feel comfortable when I talk to them, and I just attract good things. So I walk into the room and I act like I am hot, and suddenly I am hot. Suddenly there are people coming up to me asking me for my phone number. Perfect example is I was so insecure in university. I felt like I was ugly. I felt like I was just not desirable at all. And I was reinforced by that because people did not approach me. Like, I didn't have guys asking for my number. I didn't have people wanting to take me out. But as I got older and focused on feeling more confident with who I was, I noticed like I would have guys approach me all the time. Like, celebrities in my DMs. I would have guys stop me on the street, guys stop me at work, in clubs. Like, I was getting a lot of attention. But I wasn't doing it for attention. I was no longer being validated by attention because I was so focused on working on myself and feeling positively about myself and then adjusting the way I carry myself. People were naturally just attracted to that. See, if you want to be hot, you need to focus on believing that you're hot and physically showing that you're hot. In a nutshell, dude, being hot has not a goddamn thing to do with how you look. It's who you are as a person, and it's how you carry yourself. You can attract and get every single person you want so long as you believe that you can. If you found this or any of my other content helpful, please make sure you're hitting that like button, you're subscribing, you're letting me know what topics you want me to cover in those comments, because there's nothing I love more than just sitting down and chatting with you. Why do I always gotta ruin it with an accent. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll talk to you next week.